Hi there, good afternoon. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharp. I am here live to talk about a particular topic, and if you have any immigration related questions, put your questions in the comments as well, because I'm here to answer questions as well as to share information with you. But today I wanted to address a question I get often, and it's I'm over 21 and my US citizen parent wants to file for me. Can I stay in the United States and apply for the green card and work permit at the same time? And so this question is going to depend. It's going to depend on basically the status of this son or daughter who's 21 or over 21. The reason being, even if the parent is a U.S. citizen, they cannot, thanks so much for the likes, they would not be able to stay here and adjust status if they are already out of status. That means they've crossed the border without permission or that they've overstayed their visa. The reason for this is that they're in a different category. Even though they're the son or daughter of a U.S. citizen, they're not the child of a U.S. citizen. There is a difference. So let me backtrack a little bit to explain how this works. So usually those individuals who get to stay in the United States and apply for permanent residence, even if they've overstayed their visa, is if they're the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen or they qualify for other types of exceptions. If you don't fall within the exceptions to the rule or you're not the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, it's very unlikely you'd qualify for adjustment of status. But that does not mean that you will not qualify for permanent residence. It just means that you have to go about it in a different way. And I'm going to talk about that way. I refer to it as the waiver process. Now, any immediate relatives of U.S. citizens who do qualify to stay in the U.S. and apply for permanent residence are the spouse of a U.S. citizen, the parent of a U.S. citizen who's 21 and up, or the son or daughter of a U.S. citizen who is under 21 and unmarried. And also, to qualify to stay here and apply, even though you've overstayed, you have to show that even though your status has expired, you were given permission to come into the U.S. at some point upon entry. So that means that you were inspected at the border, you were paroled into the country, or you came in with a visa, permissible visa, that you just overstayed. Even if you are the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, and that you remember, immediate relatives of U.S. citizens are the spouse of a U.S. citizen, the parent of a U.S. citizen who is 21 and up, or the son or daughter of a U.S. citizen who is under 21 and unmarried. If you didn't overstay but you crossed the border without permission, then unfortunately you're going to have to look at the waiver process, which may not be unfortunate, just depending on what your circumstances are, because it is an alternative to adjustment of status. Now, I want to remind you that while I'm here, you can ask your questions, even if it's not related to the topic that I'm talking about. The topic that I'm talking about today is I am over 21 and I'm being sponsored by a U.S. citizen parent. Will I be able to stay in the U.S. and apply for a work permit and my green card? And the short answer is generally it is going to depend on your current immigration status and what your immigration status will be during the process. If you are currently here, you're maintaining legal status. So for example, say you're on an H-1B or you're on a visa that will allow you to go through the process and finish that process here in the U.S. and still maintain your status, then you could very well qualify to stay here, apply for permanent residence. However, if you are here, you're 21 or over, you've overstayed your visa or crossed the border without permission, and you are out of status, your U.S. citizen parent is sponsoring you, you're going to have to look at an alternative that is not necessarily going to allow you to stay here, but it is going to still offer you the chance to get permanent residence. And this is called I like to call it the waiver process. So it's a way of applying for forgiveness for overstaying that will allow you to wait until you're wait in the US, wait for your interview to be scheduled, wait for the waiver to be approved, wait for your interview to be scheduled, and then with the approved waiver, you can attend the interview at the embassy. Now, to qualify for this waiver, though, you'll have to make sure that you have a US citizen or legal permanent resident, spouse, or parent, and it doesn't end there, who will experience extreme hardship if you don't get the green card. So that means that you have to prove that your parent or your spouse, whether it's a citizen or green card holder, parent or spouse, will experience devastating consequences in their own life in the US if you don't get the green card. So Nicola, how long after you send in the affidavit support, you will hear from them, my mother files, and I didn't see the rest of it, but it really depends on the service center that's processing it and how backlogged they are. Sometimes they do take a couple of months to review it and to get back to you or to move ahead in your case. Can a B1, B2 get citizenship if after overstay visa? No, not directly. So one cannot overstay on a B1 and B2 and jump straight to citizenship. You must qualify in some way. You must qualify through a family member or for forgiveness for the overstay. And Shakti worship, that is where the consultation is going to be very important. How long is it taking for citizenship after you apply for it? So I'm seeing an average time of about 2 months to 6 months. However, keep in mind that my cases and the results that my clients get will not necessarily mean that it's going to be the same in your case. What I do is once my clients decide that they want to apply for citizenship and we determine they are eligible, I go ahead and I apply electronically, and everything jumps into motion very quickly, and within about 2 months my client is a citizen. So if you are thinking about applying for US citizenship, give me a call, schedule that consult, and we'll jump right on it and get started. So I basically answered that question, right? So you're over 21, you're being sponsored by a US citizen. Can you stay in the US and apply? The short answer here is if you're maintaining legal status and you can maintain that legal status for the years that this process will take, then it is possible to adjust status. However, sometimes that is not usually the case though. In most cases, if you've overstayed, you're over 21 and your US citizen parent is applying for you, you will have to do the waiver process. And at that point, when you're doing the waiver process, it's going to you're going to have to qualify through a US citizen or legal permanent resident spouse or parent who will experience extreme hardship. And that is a more complex process that is definitely going to require a consultation. So can someone who came to the US on an H-2B visa overstay, is there any way to get permanent residence? So yes, Laura, if you qualify through a family member, through a spouse, through maybe even an employer. But once again, if an employer is going to apply for you and you've overstayed and you've accrued unlawful presence, then you will have to also qualify for a waiver that will help. For that waiver, you'll have to have a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, spouse or parent. So I was wondering if it is because me and 2 kids, why the affidavit of support takes so long to approve. So Nicola, I don't know what your situation is, and I don't know how the application was submitted, when it was submitted, but overall the process is taking a long time. So you're not alone in the long delayed process. So what do you need for your interview? So go ahead and look at your notice, your interview notice or your interview letter. Make sure you have everything that's listed on that letter. You can also go to the either Department of State or the embassy's website where they will list everything that you need to bring based on the type of petition that you're applying for. So keep those questions coming. I am finished with the topic that I was talking about, which was to answer the question: if you're over 21, you have a U.S. citizen applying for you, a U.S. citizen parent applying for you, can you stay in the U.S. and apply? It depends. If you can maintain your legal status for the duration of the period, which is taking about 6 to 7 years, if you can maintain legal status for that length of period of time, then it is possible that you could apply for adjustment of status. But if you are out of status, you would have to look at an alternative. And that's going to come down to your circumstances, what's going on in your particular situation that could qualify you for an alternative way to obtain permanent residence. Now, another alternative that may allow you to apply for adjustment of status, that is to stay in the U.S. and apply, is if you have a U.S. citizen parent who is you're over 21, but you're under 25, and your parent mistreated you, your U.S. citizen or resident parent mistreated you or subjected you to extreme cruelty, and that led to a delay in applying for your own status in the U.S., then you could apply for VAWA in this case and still stay here. So that is also an exception to the exception to the rule. How do you invite someone to the U.S.? So there is no formal way to invite someone. They still have to obtain, and there's no formal way to invite someone to get a visa. They still have to independently qualify for the visa. And so you could include a letter with the application that could the person applying for the visa could justify why they're making a trip to the United States, but that won't guarantee that they'll be approved for a visa. Can I reapply for free again? So yeah, boy Ches, it really depends on what your application you're referring to and what happened. Was there a mistake by the USCIS that justifies you applying for free? Or is there an application? Sometimes there are fee waivers that you can get. How can an employer go about applying for an overstayed H-2B visa? Continue from above question. So Laura, that is very specific. So you schedule a consultation. Unfortunately, when you've overstayed, generally speaking, you wouldn't be able to apply for an H-2B visa because you would be in violation. Once you've overstayed, you are in violation of the terms of your visa. And so it's highly unlikely you'd be able to get another employment-based visa. Now, I want to let you know, though, that I don't know what your situation is. And so you still may very well qualify for something, or there may be a way around it. But that's where you're going to have to schedule a consultation. Now, for those of you who you're listening, you want to schedule a consultation, you can go to the link in my bio, and that is going to take you to the website where you can speak to a scheduling coordinator who would be able to put you on my schedule, confirm your appointment, and then we can talk more about your situation. So your boy Ches, so I was in the military, so it still depends whether you are in the military or not. It really depends on the type of application. And so if you really would like to explore your options, schedule a consultation. Let's see. How can I be in touch with you? I have questions, please. So Sim Yadi, if you go to the link in my bio, it's going to take you to the website. The website, we have 3 different ways to get in touch with a scheduling coordinator, and it is through the online chat, if that's more convenient for you, through a contact form, and the scheduling coordinator will get back to you, or through the number. The number is all over my It's all over my videos and also on the website. You can call right now. The scheduling coordinator is available. I traveled to the US several times. My average stay is 3 weeks. Last time I spent 4 months. How soon you recommend I take another trip? So Clive Brown, that is too specific for me to provide you advice here. I don't know what your situation is. I don't know what risk you would bear. I don't know why you spent the 4 months. I don't know your past pattern of travel, or if you've had an immigration violation in the past. So I wouldn't be able to recommend. You want to make sure that you are not trying to use your visa to live in the United States. And sometimes if you travel too often, the officer can see your frequent trips as a way to be able to stay in the US for extended periods of time, to work or to try to live in the US. So you have to be very careful, but that is very specific. So we need a consultation. Yeah, boy, Ches, it's not free. So I do offer value and legal advice in consultations. And so it is $150 for up to an hour, and you will walk out knowing your options, knowing what you qualify for, avoiding mistakes. And you'll be walking out with very valuable legal information, the legal advice that you need from a qualified attorney. So while I am here, you can continue to ask your questions. I am closing out the topic about applying for while you're in the US as the son or daughter of a US citizen who is over 21. Do you qualify to stay here and apply for your permanent residence and even your work permit? The answer is it really depends. Hi there, Queen Josette. It's so nice to see you too. Thanks for joining in as usual. The answer is, will you be able to maintain your legal status in the United States for the time that it's going to take for you to get an immigrant visa number and then go on to get adjustment of status? If you can't maintain your legal status, it's unlikely unless you qualify for VAWA, unless you qualify for a T visa or a U visa. But through your U.S. citizen parent, you would have to qualify for VAWA, meaning that you would have to show that your parent abused you when you were a child, so when you were under 18, but you were delayed, you didn't apply until you were over 21 because the abuse led to the delayed filing. So that is an exception to the rule that could apply to you if you're over 21 and you have a U.S. citizen parent who mistreated you. But otherwise, if the parent is the one that's applying for you, then you will have to make sure that you look at the alternative options, and that is to apply for a waiver. And to apply for the waiver, you'll have to show that your U.S. citizen parent will experience extreme hardship, so severe consequences in their own life if you don't get the green card. What are some of the ways in which you can obtain a green card without marrying anyone? So the list is very long, and it really comes down to your circumstances. But to give you a summary, there is employment. There are also other family members. So through a parent, through a parent, through a son or daughter who's 21 and up and as a U.S. citizen, and even a U.S. citizen sibling. But keep in mind that the sibling petition is taking very long, impossibly long, 14 years right now. My question is, what is next after the biometrics is done? So Queen just said, if you've applied for your work permit, you could get your work permit next, and then you could possibly get your interview scheduled. My grandmother has filed for mother. Her priority date is 2009. How long does she have to wait? So I would not know that offhand. You can always look at the National Visa Bulletin and you'll be able to tell. So if her priority date is 2009, you can look at what date they're processing now based on sons or daughters of, in this case, I'm not sure if she's a green card holder, your grandparent, or she's a U.S. citizen. But it's the length of time is going to depend on all of that. Your mother's marital status, your grandmother's whether she's a US citizen or not. So amazing creations. It's $150 for up to an hour. I also like to follow that with it's worth your time and money, especially if you're seriously looking at your immigration options and how to move forward in your particular case, because you walk out of the consultation knowing your options, knowing whether there are even better options, avoiding devastating mistakes. One of the major mistakes that I see is this adjustment of status process. Many people have the misconception that just by qualifying for permanent residence, they can apply for adjustment of status. Adjustment of status is the process of applying for a green card while you're here in the US. Not everyone who qualifies for permanent residence is going to qualify to stay here and apply. And so it's very important for you to make sure you understand your process and you get the legal help you need through your process to avoid those devastating mistakes. My daughter was adopted. Can she still file for her mother? So if your daughter was legally adopted by someone else, then they cannot file for their biological parent. How can I help my niece who's been living with me for 3 years now and she just turned 19? So amazing creations. If you schedule a consultation, because if your niece, now she's over 18, but if you have been designated her legal guardian, there are benefits for minors who have been in the United States who can eventually apply for adjustment of status, but they first have to go through a process where the court designates an individual as guardian, and also the court makes it clear then that they don't have their parents present, and then after that they can look to adjustment of status through the USCIS. So that is where it's very important to schedule the consultation. She is over 18, right? It's usually to go through the process of the court process for the guardianship. And it differs from state to state, but she has to be under 18, but she's still under 21. So I would want to still evaluate her options to see if an exception applies here. Hello, 14 years ago I got deported, 10-year ban. How can I apply for an EU visa? I'm not a European immigration attorney. I'm only a US immigration attorney. Do you know the time length for the interview after the biometrics? No, it's varying. So Queen just said, if you go to uscis.gov and you click on the case, scroll down on the homepage, look at case processing times, you can actually find the service center that's processing your case and look at the range of time on a whole, from the time that you file to the end of when they are how long they're taking to to process the case. But it's very erratic right now. Biometrics is very unpredictable, and so giving you an estimated date from the biometrics to the interview would definitely not be something I would know. So amazing creations. I am in Boca Raton, Florida. Keep in mind, I represent my clients all over the United States, all over the world. So if you have an immigration issue, which it sounds like this is an immigration issue, I can definitely work with you and assist you. So can we book an appointment with you? Absolutely. So Miss Oprah 973, if you go to the link in my bio or call the phone number that's all over my videos, you will get a scheduling coordinator who will look at they're in charge of my schedule, and they will be able to look for a free time and then go ahead and confirm the appointment with you. So go ahead and do that. You can do that right now. They're available up until 11 p.m. tonight. So I'm an EU citizen. Can I reapply for a visa after 10-year ban? Okay, so it may be possible, but it just depends on what happened, why were you deported, to be able to determine whether you have any kind of relief available. So I was on filing from a young age. Now I'm aged out. would I still be able to go on the filing? So if you've aged out and that is confirmed, you would not be able to. But my question to you is, are you sure that you've aged out? You're welcome. So Queen just said, and will my underage daughter be in the interview? So I'm not sure where your daughter is if she is where she is in the process. Who's applying for you, Queen just said. It's whether your daughter is in the interview with you or not is gonna really depend on what the process of your case is. So my VAWA case is pending. Is that okay to apply for TPS? Will that affect the VAWA? No. As a matter of fact, you can apply for TPS at the same time, and you can provide your proof that you're applying for the VAWA. Because remember, when you're applying for TPS, you also have to show that you're not inadmissible, and the VAWA application can assist with that aspect of it. What do they look for when you do the fingerprint? So they're looking for criminal issues in your background. Are you open on Saturdays? So Amazing Creations, at this time, no, we take appointments on Saturdays, but at this time we're not scheduling consultations on Saturdays. So Miss Oprah, okay, thanks for an answer. You're welcome. The last set of papers, my name was still on them. So my husband applied for both of us. She's 17. So Queen just said that means she has there are two different processes going on, and unless they instruct her to attend the interview with you, normally they wouldn't. They are processing them separately. But keep in mind, I don't know what your case is, and so I can't tell you for sure whether your daughter should be there or not. Make sure you look at the instructions on your interview notice. Can someone apply for TPS even if they have a case in immigration for asylum? Yes, but Amazing Creations, it's going to depend on what is it. Are you in deportation proceedings? Because that is going to be a separate process and a separate procedure. But if you're going through affirmative asylum, that means that you've applied on your own, then TPS could still very well be an option. Hi, can a person who has never paid tax in the U.S. file for someone? He is a citizen. So if they've never paid taxes, you have to be careful about that, because they do require the taxes to be able to approve the affidavit of support. So you would have to justify why you didn't pay taxes. Is it that you didn't have to pay taxes? If that person never had to pay taxes, then they could apply. They could still apply for the person. But if their income is lower than the required income on the affidavit of support, you will need to make sure that you have a joint sponsor. You're welcome, Queen just said. So Alicia Linde, I may have, I'm not sure. I'm going very quickly. You can retype your question if you want an answer. Can a 3-year-old travel with you from Jamaica on work travel program? So if you are on a type of visa that allows for dependents to go along with you, then yes, but you'd have to make sure that you submit an application to get that child their dependent visa. So it's like a visa for dependents. Some do allow, some don't. So it depends on what type of visa. My sister was going back to the States, and they sent her saying she overstayed on her visa. What should you do? So that's going to require a consultation, because that's very specific and it is going into complex territory. It depends on what the facts are here. Can a person who have never been outside Africa get to America? If you qualify, Nomad, that's going to come down to whether you qualify. And sometimes if you want to apply for the diversity visa, you can look to see if your country qualifies. That's like the lottery for the green card. You can look to see if your country qualifies, and if so, you could apply that way. And so even if you've never come to the United States, you could possibly even get a green card to live in the United States through that. what next after you do your fingerprint when you apply for citizenship. So usually you just have to wait for the interview, or if they have additional questions, they'll send that to you. I've been waiting for my naturalization test almost 18 months since I applied from New York. What should I do? So unfortunately, it is a waiting game for you. I am seeing the contrary, where they're really trying to push these applications through. However, some people have been waiting long for a very long time. Thanks Amazing Creations for sharing the live. So my husband's been overseas for 2 years. He sent me a divorce. Can I still get my green card? Military. So Diamond Girl 26. Can't stress this enough. Schedule a consultation, because you are one of the individuals that may very well qualify to apply on your own if you were in a situation where he abused you or mistreated you, or subjected you to extreme cruelty. That would mean that you could apply even if you're even if you have been so you are actually, yeah, so no matter where you are, if you're outside of the United States or in the United States, and he mistreated you, then that could very well be a way for you to apply for your own permanent residence. So this could be what you need, the relief you need. So Diamond Girl, but I would have to evaluate whether the mistreatment you experience, or the abuse you experience, or the extreme cruelty, which could be verbal, it could be emotional, it could be financial, whether that amounts to qualify you for this, to be able to self-petition. So schedule a consultation. How long it takes to for the interview? So Alicia, let's see. So it depends on your case. I wouldn't be able to tell you because I'm not the attorney on your file, and I don't know when you filed. How long? For my cases, I'm seeing 2 to 6 months, but it differs from case to case, from state to state, from circumstance to circumstance. How long does it take to process when you file for a spouse in Jamaica? So prepare for 18 to 24 months. How long should, how long should it take to get a review from NVC? I place it from August. So you prepare for even 3 months, unfortunately. It is taking a while. So thanks everyone. Diamond Girl, you're welcome. Ricky Myers, you're welcome. Alicia, you're welcome. That is it for me tonight, but I will be back at around 9 p.m. Eastern time on TikTok. And also keep in mind that I am also on Instagram. Most of my content is now on Instagram. So while I do lives here every night, if you want updates throughout the day, you want to get tips throughout the day, you want to get immigration updates, then my Instagram page would be where you could get that. And Diamond Girl, if you don't have IG, that's fine. You can always join me at around 9 p.m. Eastern time to continue to ask questions and to listen to updates. But I only do lives here, and then I post my videos on Instagram. So you are free to join me there. And if you don't see me here at 9 p.m. Eastern, guess what? You will see me on Instagram at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. So you have an opportunity to be here with me, and also to continue to join me on Instagram. The Instagram button is on the home page, where you can just click on it. It will take you straight through to the Instagram account for my law firm. It's still called The Immigration Attorney on Instagram. So Alicia, I'm located in Boca Raton, Florida. Keep in mind though, I represent clients on all 50 states and worldwide. So if you have a U.S. immigration issue, I can help you no matter where you are. My clients are all over. All right, have a good night. And Raven, thanks so much for the share. I appreciate it. I will see you tonight, or I'll speak with you in a consultation. And if I don't see you tonight, I'll see you hopefully tomorrow or on Instagram. Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.